to be charged, as he had put his gun away. He kept it in a locked gun case, however, he does admit that the lock wasn't tamper-proof. Alexis told her that she didn't know if her father should be charged. Larger concerns for her were making arrangements for her baby boy and helping her oldest son live with this for the rest of his life. Prosecutors immediately weighed the decision to press charges in Corbin's death, but ultimately decided no charges were warranted. Missouri law required the 10-member Child Death Review Panel to convene. They unanimously recommended no charges be filed. Ultimately, though, the decision lay with County Prosecutor Robert Rice, who had to grapple with whether anyone was criminally negligent in their actions that contributed to Corbin's death. 6 weeks later, Rice announced that he found neither to be criminally negligent, and no charges were filed in this case. Murderous Minors is brought to you by Away, first-class luggage at a coach price. Away was founded by two friends from New York who found themselves at JFK with dead phones, delayed flights, and a bright idea: luggage with power. Thus, the Away carry-on was born. Away uses high-quality materials while offering a much lower price compared to other brands by cutting out the middleman and selling directly to you. Choose from 9 colors and 4 sizes. I have the bigger carry-on in green, and when I released the last episode, I was in the process of using my new Away carry-on for the very first time, and it was a completely cool experience. The larger size was much bigger than my other carry-on, and I fit everything in with room to spare. It's so sturdy, I never worried about it being bumped or tossed around, and the built-in combo lock made checking it at the gate completely stress-free. The Away bigger carry-on with removable battery is absolutely what I need to make my travels easier, and it's unbelievably lightweight. You won't believe it. All suitcases made with premium German polycarbonate, unrivaled in strength and impact resistance. Carry-on sizes are compliant with all major U.S. airlines while maximizing the amount you can pack. 4 360-degree spinner wheels guarantee a smooth ride. Both sizes of the carry-on are able to charge all cell phones and anything else that's powered by a USB cord. A single charge of the Away carry-on will charge your iPhone 5 times. There's a lifetime warranty and a 100-day trial. Live with it, vibe with it. If at any point you decide it's not for you, return it for a full refund. No questions asked. For $20 off a suitcase, visit awaytravel.com/warbaby and use promo code WARBABY upon checkout. Free shipping on any Away order within the lower 48 states. Or like the mother of 21-year-old Carter Epps, who was with her son at his grandmother's house, where his father sometimes stayed. Around 1 p.m. on August 25, 2015, the not yet 2-year-old found a loaded gun and shot himself in the chest. Not yet 2 years old. His mother drove him to the hospital, where police were notified that a 1-year-old had shot himself and did not survive his injuries. His mother was arrested and booked into jail on suspicion of first-degree child endangerment. She was held for several days but was released when prosecutors did not file charges against her. They did, however, arrest Carter's father, 26-year-old Corey, saying that he not only owned the gun and left it out where he knew his son played, but that he had removed the spent bullet and gun from the scene and fled. Carter's father was charged with endangering the welfare of a child and tampering with evidence. He pled guilty on February 26, 2016, and was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Or like great-grandfather Joel of Iredale, Alabama. Like Bill Porter, Corbin's grandfather, Joel wasn't prosecuted for owning the gun that killed his 9-year-old great-granddaughter at the hands of his 3-year-old great-grandson either. That Saturday, February 6, 2016, Joel awoke excited about the shooting competition he'd soon head off for. As he left, he passed his great-granddaughter on his way out as she was hanging out watching cartoons in the living room. 9-year-old Kimi Reylander, her mother Amanda, and 3-year-old brother lived just down the street, so Kimi saw as much of her great-grandparents as she liked. While Joel was gone from the house, his daughter-in-law and Kimi and her brother's grandma Tina came by with the 3-year-old in tow. At some point, the children began playing in their great-grandparents' extra bedroom. Kimi was familiar with guns and gun safety, especially since her great-grandfather was such an avid gun enthusiast. He made sure he educated her. Joel had never had a daughter, and Kimi was his pride and joy. When she spent the night in the room with her great-grandmother, Joel took to the extra bedroom. Kimi routinely brought in his loaded 9mm each night, putting it on the nightstand. One or the other of them would carefully bring it back to the master bedroom in the morning. Except, it seems, for that particular morning. Joel left, his great-grandson arrived. Joel returned, and when he did, he was greeted by the news that his worst, unshakable nightmare had come, and wasn't any time soon saying goodbye. His Kimi had been shot in the head as she sat on the floor of that extra bedroom by her 3-year-old brother, who had grabbed the pistol from the nightstand. Upon receiving the devastating news, Joel said, "This is the worst thing I've ever done. This was my baby. She was my pride and joy." When she was her brother's age, one of Joel's guns had fallen, hitting the floor and discharging. The bullet barely missed her. They still kept guns. Even following Kimi's shooting death, Kimi's mother and her great-grandparents continued to own guns. Mother Amanda used shooting as a stress reliever and kept a handgun in the glove box of the family car. Regardless of her daughter's accidental shooting, she had said she still desired to protect herself and her son. Grandmother Tina did not agree. Joel himself had never before fired that gun. Skip ahead a year and a half, and on November 10th, 2017, 25-year-old Sean Moore was visiting the Cedar Mill Apartments in South Memphis, Tennessee, where his 1-year-old daughter resided with her mother and 3-year-old sibling. While in a bedroom laying the 1-year-old Robin Keefer down for a nap, her mother noticed Sean had a handgun. When she asked him why, he said it was for protection. No one was thinking about protecting those children from the adults in their lives when the gun was left unattended on the same bed where 1-year-old Robin slept. No one thought about the gun again until Robin's 3-year-old sibling accidentally discharged it, striking her once in the head. Sean grabbed the gun and took off. He later turned himself in, and police recovered the weapon. He was arrested on charges of criminally negligent homicide, being a felon in possession of a firearm, and tampering with evidence, and at last reports, he was awaiting trial on a bond of $50,000. Only 5 months before that, Robin Keefer's 2-year-old second cousin Laylah Washington had been killed in a road rage shooting. On June 11, 2017, in the Hickory Hill section of Memphis, Tennessee, Leslie Washington told a car full of young men to stop driving crazy in a parking lot. They followed her when she left and fired into the family's car. One bullet struck 2-year-old Laylah in the head, and she died 2 days later. Her family had to endure not only her death, but 18 months of struggling with the investigation and no suspects. Cousins 19-year-old Brandon McCrae and 21-year-old Tylen McCrae were finally arrested in December 2018 and are awaiting trial in Laylah's murder. Roughly 6 months into their healing process, tragedy had struck this family again. May 2018 was a very active month for toddler shootings, with 3 families finding out too late that kids can and will pull a trigger if given the opportunity. 2-year-old Demetrius Jefferson of Henrico, Virginia was a naturally curious youngster, as most are. On May 7, 2018, the toddler went into a closet and retrieved a family heirloom firearm that had been passed down to his mother. Speaking of his mother, the curious toddler got the gun while his mother was sleeping, having taken medication for ADHD, which she said caused her to be drowsy. Tiara Rogers was startled instantly awake by the sound of the gunshot that killed her son. She believed he thought it was a toy. Demetrius' mother was charged with felony murder and child neglect in October 2018 and is currently awaiting trial. She's facing 5 to 40 years for homicide and up to 10 years for neglect. May 22, 2018 saw not only 1 but 2 tragic toddler-caused shootings take 2 young lives. Just after 11 a.m., officers responded to the home of the Aponte family off Baker's Ranch Road near Yanceyville, Virginia. What they found was heartbreaking. 2-year-old Tyson Aponte was unresponsive after being shot in the chest by his 4-year-old brother. While their father was at work and their mother was at home with them, the 4-year-old had climbed on a chair and reached in a high cabinet, accidentally coming across the gun. Just like Demetrius before, he thought it was a toy and shot his little brother in the chest while handling the pocket-sized firearm. When paramedics arrived, they tried to resuscitate the toddler and he was airlifted to the University of Virginia Medical Center, where he was pronounced dead around 12:45 p.m. He left behind his parents, 4-year-old brother, and 2 teenaged brothers as well. Neighbors recalled seeing both parents on their knees in despair in the front yard as a heavy police presence infiltrated their quiet rural street. No charges were filed in Ty Aponte's shooting. An hour later, and just 150 miles away, a 2-year-old was unattended in a bedroom of his family's apartment in Roanoke, Virginia, when he found a loaded gun and shot himself. Both parents were home, and police first became aware of the shooting when they were flagged down on the street. Just after noon on May 22nd, the parents of the injured boy pulled over while driving him to the hospital to alert a passing police officer to their situation. Paramedics transported him to Carry On Roanoke Memorial Center, where the unidentified 2-year-old boy was pronounced dead. Investigators went to the family's apartment where the shooting took place. During their search, they found the weapon in question, as well as its holster and ammunition. No charges ended up being filed in this case. It's so difficult to know if and where other people have a gun in their home or on their person, and this certainly includes grandparents. Purses, vehicles, closets, drawers, literally anywhere an individual would store a possession, guns are there. And so are children. Maybe it's time we start asking. It's safe to say that the Helem family of Indianapolis feels this way. When Mom left her 3-year-old and 1-year-old children at their grandmother's house and reported back to active duty in the Army, the week after Thanksgiving should have been filled with that tingly excitement that comes with the dawn of a fresh holiday season. For the Helems and those who love them, however, the 29th of November last year was the beginning of the new life survivors are required to embark on. Having left her 2 toddlers at their grandmother's house, their mother could not know that there was a loaded handgun under the couch. The grandmother herself says she didn't know that her ex-husband, 63-year-old Daryl Marbury, who had been sleeping on that couch, had put it underneath, but Isabella's 3-year-old brother was able to find it, and on the very Thursday morning that their mother Brianna Helem set out for Fort Knox following her holiday break, he shot his big sister. The bullet went through her left shoulder blade and then through the right side of her head. Immediately there was backlash from the children's mother over what she referred to as misinformation and commentary. "The national news has called my mother reckless and careless," she told the Lebanon reporter. "They are blaming her for our daughter's death."